Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Cass. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm a beauty and lifestyle blogger, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of my favorite gluten-free brands. So I'm not celiac, I'm what's considered gluten intolerant. So for about probably the last, like 6 or 7 years now, I've been avoiding gluten. I do still eat it from time to time because, like I said, it is an intolerance. So gluten intolerance is essentially similar to what being lactose intolerant is. So your body is essentially lacking the enzymes that are needed to break down gluten, which is a lot of people I think go, oh, like you're gluten intolerant or whatever, and you're like, you don't even know what gluten is. Gluten is a protein that is found mainly in things like wheat, barley, rye. So things I try to avoid are bread, flour, beer, all that kind of stuff that has gluten in it. However, thankfully, there are a lot of gluten-free brands out there. So let's dive into that. So the first thing I want to talk about is oats. There's a lot of, I think, hype and sort of arguments around oats because technically oats are already gluten-free. The thing with oats that are sold as gluten-free oats is because a lot of oats, when they're manufactured or packaged, they're done so in facilities that deal with other things that do contain gluten. So if you were someone who was celiac, for example, and for those of you who don't know what celiac disease is, it's essentially a very serious allergy to gluten. So if you were someone who was celiac, then you probably would want to be getting gluten-free oats just to be 100% certain that they are certified gluten-free. There's going to be no traces of gluten in them whatsoever. So technically speaking, I can eat regular oats, but oftentimes I just buy whatever's on sale, and these guys are often on sale. This is the Only Oats brand. They are gluten-free rolled oats, and I use them to make obviously like oatmeal and porridge and all those kinds of things in the morning. The nice thing about this too with gluten-free oats is that you can blend them up in a blender to make oat flour that is gluten-free. Again, something that probably is gluten-free already, but if you just want to be extra cautious and avoid all of that, then why not, right? For my pasta lovers out there, there is hope. Two of my favorite gluten-free pasta brands, and trust me, when it comes to pasta, I've tried a lot of different gluten-free pastas. Everything from rice pasta to quinoa pasta to red lentil pasta. One of my favorite gluten-free pasta brands is the Catelli pasta. This guy here. You can find this in most grocery stores. This one's nice because it's a blend of 4 different types of flours. So it's white rice, brown rice, corn, and quinoa. And I feel like that sort of makes it taste the most sort of authentic and like real tasting pasta for whatever reason. The second brand that I do frequently buy as well is the President's Choice brand. This is obviously available only at like Loblaws or anything that's owned by President's Choice, Shoppers, Superstore, all those kinds of grocery stores. But this one is 100% corn flour. So this one is, I find, like this brand can be a little bit grittier tasting. So that's why I prefer the Catelli personally, but I buy both probably equally, to be honest. So when it comes to flour, I do use flour a lot for things like baking, obviously. And the flour that I go to probably the most is the Bob's Red Mill. This is I've used a bunch of different ones. They have a few, but this is the all-purpose baking flour. They have a 1-to-1 as well. And I've looked at the ingredients and I feel like there's just very few like differences between the two. So I'm not really sure like what the purpose is of them being packaged differently. I don't know. But this one you do still need to add xanthan gum to. And xanthan gum, if you aren't aware of what that is, it's essentially what makes things kind of stringy and stretchy, like how real bread gets. And a lot of the time, gluten-free things don't have that sort of stretchiness. So by adding xanthan gum to things that are gluten-free, you kind of get a little bit of that back. It's still not going to be there 100%, but it just sort of adds that kind of sort of gooey texture to gluten-free things. So this guy doesn't have xanthan gum. You do need to add it, but I think their 1-to-1 flour does have xanthan gum in it. I could be wrong though. So I just sort of want to segue for a sec here from the flour to a recipe that I just made recently with quite a bit of flour in it, and something that I've actually never really ventured into. And it's from this Dead Kitchen cookbook here. It's like my favorite cookbook at the moment. But it is their chickpea and dumpling soup. I'll just pull up the page here. It's like that. I don't know if you can see that, but anyways, essentially it's a soup that has dumplings in it. And I made my own dumplings from this gluten-free flour, and they turned out really, really good. So that's just kind of a nice thing with having the gluten-free flour as an option, that you can do things like that and still get your, you know, delicious, delicious carbs. Now I don't have one on me, but I wanted to talk to you guys about pizza as well, because again, there are options for gluten-free pizza. And my favorite go-to is the Daiya gluten-free pizzas. By the way, there is going to be a blog post on this. So if you guys want, and I encourage you to, obviously, because it's my blog, you can go over there and check it out. And I will have links to where you can buy all this stuff, pictures, fun facts, fun things, you know. But the Daiya gluten-free pizzas, they are vegan as well. And those are something that I kind of took me a little bit of time to sort of get used to and get kind of accustomed to, because vegan cheese is definitely not like real cheese. It tastes different for sure. And that's something that I've like been transitioning into. I don't call myself a vegan, or, you know, like I still eat eggs every once in a while. But dairy is definitely, like, I am dairy intolerant as well, like quite dairy intolerant. So I definitely can't eat cheese anymore. And I've gone so long without eating dairy now that if I do slip up and have a little bit of it, it just like makes me so much more sick than it used to before. But that's not because I had like a tolerance to it. I think it was just, I was just generally used to feeling shitty all the time. And so now it's like, I feel good and not bloated. And then when I do feel shitty, it's like a little bit more obvious. But yeah, so Daiya gluten-free pizza, that's where I was going with this. Awesome gluten-free crust, dairy-free cheese. What more can you ask for in a pizza other than real cheese? But this is better. The last gluten-free brand that I want to talk to you guys about is in the category of bread. And that is the, I don't know if you're going to see this here, it's all crumpled up, but it's the all but gluten bread. This is the whole grain loaf. I mean, there's still, actually, I don't know why I did this. There are still grains in it, but it's I think, marketed to be sort of like a whole wheat type of bread. Again, like with the pasta, I've tried a variety of different gluten-free breads. And some of them are absolutely god-awful. So if you're, pardon me. So if you are someone who has had gluten-free bread in the past and been like, oh, it's shit, I encourage you to try this brand, because this one is probably my favorite. It toasts really, really nice, which is a plus, because that's pretty much the only way I really that's pretty much the only way I ever eat bread, is toasted in the morning with peanut butter. So good. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't do you any harm. It means the world to me. And then if you feel like it, you can press a little bell beside it too, because that will notify you every time I make a new video. I do definitely post on my blog weekly. However, the videos are kind of haphazard at the moment because it's when I have time. They do take a little bit longer to make than writing out a blog post. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, let me know down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. If only you could see how messy my desk is right now. There's a lot going on.